I bet you were thinking bathroom, weren't you? And if not the bathroom, the tree. Well, you get neither this time because I honestly, on the verge of a migraine, I got all keyed up before this game started. And Michigan goes down the field through melted butter defense. And then I thought, okay, maybe our offense will be able to do something. And then right away we throw an interception. My heart rate went through the roof. My headache exploded. And, it got a little better than that after that because I calmed down. This week had the least amount of buzz I can remember for a game in probably the history of CornNation.com, which is about 17 years. I know we've gone through a lot of bad things, but I think pretty much about 98% of us knew that Michigan was going to come in and win the game. I didn't think that it would be 45-7, I think was the final score, bad, and that Nebraska really wouldn't even look competitive. And it's disappointing that in our 5th game of the year. Well, honestly, it's disappointing that in our 5th game of the year, we start out this game flat as hell. We've started out the last 2 games flat as hell, with no emotion, not much excitement of anything, except that those were lesser opponents that we could overcome in the end. And this one, there's no weakness in Michigan. You got to credit Michigan. And if you're feeling bad about this year, I mean, we lost to them 34-3 last year, and we had more talent last year than we do this year, especially on offense with, Casey Thompson as a usable quarterback and Trey Palmer is the guy that you could hit on long bombs and at least score some points. So I don't know if there's much to take away from this other than it feels awful. It's embarrassing on national television. You kind of expect us to show up and play football. And there was some bright points, I suppose. We didn't get shut out because of Joshua Fleeks, who became a running back like this week. I think that's about it, actually. Now, there probably was some other bright points. Like if you're a left tackle recruit out there, if you're a left tackle playing anywhere, high school, anywhere, and you could think you can block, you could come to Nebraska and start on this team. Like, I don't know, right away. So there's my recruiting pitch for the left tackle. Probably left guard too, because the whole left side of our line is just like, I'll tell you what, I tweeted in all caps, which means I was screaming, the same thing I did about Bryce Benhart like 2 years ago, which was, if you can't fucking block a guy, you should hold them because they don't call holding. You can't just let a guy run through you and hit your quarterback if you're an offensive lineman. I know that they don't teach you to probably hold people, but if you're just going to get your quarterback slaughtered, maybe give it a shot. Because there was plenty of holding going on all over the place, and they never call it. And that's not a complaint about the refs. They don't call it against anybody anymore. We could have been called for holding many times against Michigan. They didn't call that either. So what else we got in this game? I'm sure first of all, leading up to this game, I know that there was a number of us that talked ourselves into we could catch them. We could play with some emotion. And first you have to play with emotion to be able to play with emotion, and we didn't do that at all. I know that there's some people have been talking about I like that it was low key and they're not saying much. Okay, well, man, I think you need to do something to get a little bit of fire out of anything, because there were 2 robot teams that played today, and one of those robot teams they were robots because they executed everything very well. I mean, Michigan's offensive line just blocked. They were a crisp team. Their offense executed things down to their 4th quarterback? They still executed. And Nebraska is still missing execution at literally a base level with false starts and things like that. The last stat I checked, I don't think Michigan had a penalty in this game, but I didn't look at that maybe until the 3rd quarter, where Nebraska had a number of just dumb penalties again. Let's see what else we got here. You're probably going to hear a lot this week about offensive identity, and people think the offensive line coach needs fired, or Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, needs fired. When you have an offensive identity, You typically build your identity around something that you do well. Name something Nebraska does well on offense. And then ask yourself, did they do this well, or am I just convincing myself they do this well? Because right now we don't do anything well on offense. 5 games in, that's kind of, it's frustrating, but at the same time, we don't really have any playmakers on offense. We have Billy Kemp. He looked decent in the plays he was given today. Joshua Flakes with a nice long run to preserve the shutout. That was nice. So we still have like a streak left going back to home. Last time we were shut out at home in 1968. I was like 6 then. What else? Who else do we have on offense? I mean, not much. Heinrich Harburg, he could possibly be serviceable in the next 4 games that we have a chance to win. And that's probably the brightest point of this. Even in the offseason, none of us thought we'd beat Michigan. We have this amazing ability to, before the week before the game, coming up with all sorts of theories on how we're going to beat a much, much superior opponent. And that's honestly what Michigan is. I mean, they literally executed everywhere very well. Tristan Alvano is now, I think, 1 of 4, 1 of 5 in field goals. He's going to have to work through that. You can't just go, well, they need to get rid of him, because he's a new guy. We have to work through these things until you get better at them. So, I'm not going to get that upset out of it. It's not a bathroom video. Somebody in the game thread asked me, are you going to start drinking again? And I will answer this. This team isn't worth me starting drinking again. Okay? So I hope you take that part to heart. This team right now is not worth you getting drunk and angry over. Because, it's, it just worked. It sucks your life away and the joy away from your life. I think we're going to get better. I still have faith in Matt Rule. I'm not entirely sold on everybody on the staff, but, that's as the season goes on and there's plenty left. Nebraska still has a chance to get to a bowl game, and that's what we started the season with as a goal, right? Right? I wanted to retire the phrase, but I guess I can't for now. And you know what it is. There is no hope. Fuck everything. Go Big Red. Take care of yourselves.